Got open man. DJ Moore. End zone. Touchdown. Touchdown Bears.
I am Jeff Joniak.
Blitz is on. Down he goes. Brisker.
What was it like playing for Coach Ditka?
I don't want to answer any questions like that.
Pressure coming. He's in big trouble. Down he goes. Montez Sweat.
Now, Bears Etc. brought to you by Chevy Drives Chicago, the official truck partner of your Chicago Bears.
Stumbled in Baltimore for the Bears, 30-16. The setback against a physical AFC North opponent with another in waiting in Cincinnati with Super Bowl winning Bears guard Tom Thayer. Jeff Joniak here to discuss on episode 181 of the Bears Etc. podcast. This episode of Bears Etc. brought to you by ChevyDriveChicago.com, the official truck of your Chicago Bears. Coming up, our weekly Monday interview with Bears head coach Ben Johnson. Tom, so many things you could tear apart on this tape that give you optimism, but also concern you, right, as you move forward here as Week 9 approaches. At the midway point of this season right now, what concerns you and what are you optimistic about?
Well, the thing about it, every mistake that was made in the game is easily correctable. And I think it's a matter of concentration. It's just continuous development of the understanding of the terminology of the offense and how it runs. And I think that I'm only discouraged because I think the Bears lost the game. I don't think they got beat. And so there's a big difference in that. But when I go back and I watch the tape, I see things of, okay, if the running back would have chose this hole instead of that hole, it would be a much bigger run play. Some of the pockets that were developed for Caleb were some of the best I've seen all year. And that's super encouraging to me because those are transferable week to week. And when you talk about some of the other issues, like the lining up off the line of scrimmage by a linebacker who doesn't customarily line up on a line of scrimmage, so it's not something that is just easy to him like it would be me being an offensive lineman. Then you have the results of taking a punt that would have been down at the 2 and repunting. So that's what I'm saying. As discouraged as I was last night, I'm encouraged because a lot of the issues that hurt the Bears last year are super correctable.
Yeah. Well, even the late game, the catch on 3rd down and 7 by a veteran wide receiver, Hopkins, where he did grab the face mask of Nashawn Wright early on in that situation. Ordinarily, referees are going to throw that flag. I know Gene Steratore on the national broadcast said it should have been a flag. And that could have made a big difference. And it's a 7-point game at that point. And you get them off the field, you get the ball back.
Well, there's other plays, too, where Jonah Jackson was pulling from his right guard position to his left. As he pulled to his left, the defensive lineman came and cut his legs out from underneath him. That's illegal now. You can't do that. And it's right in front of the official. So instead of recognizing that as a fact, it was a penalty and making the adjustments for the next play, there's nothing called. But I guess if we want those are not the things you want to sit and tell you they're correctable, because that's an official's decision. There's a lot of other issues within that game are correctable by this coaching staff, and I do assume that they are going to be corrected by next week.
The defensive line, we talked about the amount of tackles they made, which you ordinarily don't see. 29 combined, 22 by 3 of the big starters. Dengbo had to play almost 60 snaps yesterday because of the injuries, and now we learn Dominic Robinson, high ankle, he's going to be out a while. We know how long those can linger, obviously, but Shamar Turner going to wind up playing half a dozen games. He's got an ACL. That happened in the game, and given what his injury was on the first snap of the preseason, getting a high ankle, rookies have a hard time if they've never been injured before. You're not with the team every day. You're not in meetings. I mean, you're trying to rehab, and it's a lonely journey if you're a rookie, and sometimes it really affects rookies in a very – I know they're not going to let that happen, but as a second-round pick, we had high hopes for him.
Shamar Turner has some swagger, And when you have a guy that has a little bit of a swagger, he's not going to need to be convinced that he belongs at this level, because as soon as his ankle got right at the end of training camp, he was able to participate in practice, impress the coaches, let them know that he's not only has the traits of a defensive tackle, but he has the skill to play defensive end. And I was super encouraged by what I was seeing out of him, practice in and practice out, week in and week out of the games. And I think he's got an extremely high upside. It's super unfortunate that what he's going to face, but I think that he's in the right place. He's got the right doctors. He's got the right trainers. He's going to be in a facility that they care about him, and they want to get him back up on his working feet as soon as possible.
Concussion for Luther Burden. I'll have to keep an eye on that. And then Alameda Zacchaeus day-to-day with an injury as well. And then it looks like you're going to have Austin Booker coming up.
It's important. He's got to play an important role in this game. And I know that you were talking to Ben about and we'll hear about the amount of snaps that some of these guys played. Austin Booker is going to have to come in game ready. He's not going to be able to be fed 6 or 8 reps in the course of a week or a game. He's going to have to come in here, hopefully with the intentions of playing a minimum of 20 reps and hopefully more as the season winds on, and get production out of him, because I really do believe that he has pass rushing skills.
When Mexican Heritage meets American Brewing, game day gets an upgrade. Cruz Blanca, Cerveza refreshed. Proud partner of the Chicago Bears. So Tom alluded to Ben Johnson. Let's dip into our weekly interview with the Bears head coach. All right, thanks very much for being here, Ben. How you feeling right now? I know there's disappointment, but man, there is determination in your voice with every question you answer.
Yeah, no, I think we're going to be in good shape. We said all along this second quarter of the season we want to find a way to at least go 3-1, at a minimum go 3-1. So we can do that. We just got to respond the right way and find a way to win next week against Cincinnati.
Reset and repair our opportunities. Does that excite you as a coach when a game's over and you're getting ready for the next mission?
Yeah, there's no doubt. You lick your wounds a little bit when you watch the tape, and as a coach, you take a lot of pride in what's being put out there, because it's your resume as much as it is the players, and so we all want to see each other do really well, and so we fell short. We didn't score enough points on offense and defense. They were duking it out, and eventually, it just kind of went away from us there at the end of the fourth quarter, and so. I know this. I know we'll come back and we'll be rejuvenated and we'll be ready to go here this week.
Let me throw another R word in there. Rejuvenated, yes. But you and I, believe it or not, Tom Thayer will agree with me, my broadcast crew, we run a certain temperature. So I'm first reactive and then reflective. Are you the same way?
Yeah. No, that's right. That's right.
Yeah.
And that's what we try to be very aware of, is not to be too reactive, but yet be responsive. How about that one?
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, blunt's better than BS.
Right? Keep it going. I like it.
Drew Dahlman says they're trying to analyze the why today. He said on the offensive penalties, as a group, as an offensive group, maybe even without you there or without the coaches there, do they go back and look at everything that has gone south in terms of penalties and figure out the why that way? Or do you guys do that for them?
I think here's kind of where I see the role of us as coaches is we bring up problems and we work our best to help them find solutions for those problems. And so we know it's been a point of emphasis for us for a while now to get this pre-snap stuff under control, and we haven't found enough solutions for it. And so we need all hands on deck to get this fire taken care of. And I think they understand what's at hand. They know how important it is. We got to get this thing back on track. And step one for us going into this next half of the season is getting this under control.
You mentioned Caleb took a step. How'd you feel about the offensive line?
Offensive line played really well. I thought we had more winning football up front than maybe we had higher grades than what we had earlier in the season. And so I was pleased overall. They created some challenging looks in terms of how we were able to run the ball this week, and yet our guys did still play with a physical nature. So we got to get our running efficiency up a little bit. Once again, that's not just the offensive line, that's everybody But from a pass protection standpoint, those are some of the cleaner pockets that we've had all year long. So I thought that was really well done.
Dude, and this is my bad, I didn't check this, but I know 50 snaps for Colston Loveland. Without Cole here, how valuable are those 50? Because that seems to be an upgrade in number of snaps.
Yeah, and he's earned it. I mean, he's a smart player. He takes a lot of pride in making sure he knows the plan and having that down pat. And so he did a great job handling all that. And, you know, it was National Tight Ends Day. I'm sure he wanted to show out for that, and wish we could have gotten the ball just a couple more times there.
Yeah, no question. Is Kyle Monangai, I mean, it seems like it's been building, and maybe this is a dumb question, but is he earning more snaps based on your trust in him and what he's putting out?
Yeah, he's playing well in all three areas, running the ball, in pass protection, and catching the ball. He's playing really good football right now. So, yeah, I do think you could see an uptick in his usage.
You know, us meathead football people, every time he's in pass pro, I can't wait to see what happens. He has there's no flinch.
No.
No matter who it is.
Zero fear whatsoever. He'll put his face in there, and, you know, he's very stout. I know he's not the biggest player, biggest running back out there, but yet he plays bigger than his size. He plays faster than his speed. I mean, you can't say enough good things about his play speed and just his ability out there on the field. So he's been a ray of sunshine for our offense.
Explain that to the average fan.
Well, yeah, I mean, he's a 4.60 guy that, for whatever reason, when you get the pads on, seems to speed up. And so he's maximizing that speed. You know, I don't have the GPS data or anything like that, but when you see him moving relative to the people around him, he's playing at a high clip.
Injuries really hitting the defense now, the defensive line. Unfortunate news about Shamar Turner. It seemed like he was really hitting a little groove there as a versatile piece up front. I'm sure he's crushed as a rookie, because rookies start to, like, if they get injured, and he's had a couple now in this one season, mentally, where's he at?
Yeah, he's been through a lot. You know, rookie year's always your toughest, and so it's been quite a transition for him. But we were very hopeful that transition to defensive end was going to pay dividends for all parties. You know, he was doing a good job there, and we were excited for how he was going to fit into the equation for us. And so, yeah, he'll be sorely missed, and we saw nothing but a player with the arrow up and continuing to get better. So he needs to attack this rehab the right way so that he can come back better than before.
And then Dominique Robinson, I hate seeing anything derail what he has started this year, but high ankle, so that's going to be a little bit.
Yeah, he'll be out for a little bit, and you know, in the meantime, we'll call on the reserves here. Booker has been chomping at the bit for a while, and so I think this will time up nice for his return. You know, Daniel Hardy did a nice job. I think he played 14 snaps in the game yesterday, and for a guy that doesn't get many snaps in practice at that position, you know, he's really a Swiss Army knife for us. He plays all over the place. Thought he did a good job, and so we'll have to call on him just a little bit more than we have. You
know, we were doing our TV show before the game on the sidelines and watching Hardy, get ready for the game with his takeoff and stuff. Even on that, I know special teams, he's violent, but he violently just even watching him warm up, there's just something about him.
Oh, yeah. He takes care of business and goes about his stuff the right way. I mean, it's fun to watch, and I was joking with him earlier today. I'm like, well, shoot, we got you playing linebacker, we got you playing D-end, you're special teams, and at some point we'll put you at fullback too. So, we're going to keep on pushing the limit there with him.
Hey, listen, that guy, he is just excited to be here, so he'll take on anything. Ask him to punt too, which brings me to Tory Taylor. So when you have big plays that are taken away from you because of penalty, do you still keep that in the back of your mind as this is an excellent play by the punter here and the punt coverage? Right?
There's no doubt. He absolutely put that one on the money. Unfortunate that it got called back, but I thought he did a really nice job. That's a dangerous returner they've got over there, and so we ended up limiting him to 0 return yards, and that was a really nice job by Tory yesterday.
Grady Jarrett, 33 snaps in his return. How did he hold up?
Yeah, certainly felt him out there. We needed that boost. We were concerned about Derrick Henry and his ability to get going, and we kept him under 4 yards of carry, which was a big key to what we thought we needed to get done in that game. And so I know overall our rushing numbers weren't quite where we want them to be. We got to do a better job handling the quarterback-driven run game, but for the most part, you could feel that traditional two-back stuff that they were doing, our D-line, Grady being a big part of that, shutting that down.
Back to Caleb. You made a comment in the news conference with the media at the podium today. You said you're not surprised at the line of scrimmage that things sometimes are not where they should be. Why are you not surprised?
I don't know if I said where they should be, but where they could be is probably the proper way to say it. Just we're still getting a feel for, okay, is it a kill look? When we have these multiple plays up there, and then when it is a kill look, how quickly can we get that out of our mouth? How quickly can we get the next play identified? It can be faster, and it will be faster, but we are still, that was game 7. Yeah. I anticipate game 10 it being faster, and game 14 it being even faster than that. So it's going to continue to accelerate.
A word on the Bengals.
Yeah, dangerous offense. Obviously, they can put up a number of points in a hurry here. They're heavy in the passing game, so our offense is going to have to counter that. And, should be a good opportunity for our pass rushers to get in that mode.
Saw a video last week of you as your head coach. You're going to get this ring a bell? Where'd this start from?
I don't even think about it. I don't even know. I don't even think about it.
I love it, though. It's just you, right?
Yeah.
It's uniquely you.
Yeah.
And then I know it's hard to suffer a defeat and you're moving on, but you keep talking about cleaning up. So my Halloween recommendation to you for the kids in trick-or-treating is go to the Mr. Clean look.
There you go. Got it.
Hey, thank you for your time.
Yeah, thanks, Jeff.
Yeah, Ben has said a lot about these penalties and how it needs to get corrected, and he's really leaning into the players and the experience and the leadership getting their hands on this situation and taking care of it. Tommy, how do you feel about it?
As it should be. Look, and I think the guys that can hold everybody accountable are the players inside the locker room. Coaches can correct them. They can make adjustments. They can make suggestions. But when you have this group of guys that are in the locker room behind closed doors, that's when you can get that message out there of, hey, let's have better concentration today at practice. Let's have a better understanding of what our assignments are, breaking the huddle and the adjustments if they have to go to the check down play. So all these suggestions that are being made from Ben from the podium, they carry weight into the locker room. And then when he makes a suggestion, which I really appreciated yesterday, about that the leaders are going to have to take over and they're going to have to get these group concentration in meetings, concentrating in walkthroughs, and concentrating in practice.
Good news, Chicago. United Airlines is getting brand new planes with all the bells and whistles like Bluetooth connectivity, screens at every seat, and room for everyone's roller bag. United, proud to fly the Chicago Bears, and you too. They have a league-high 16 false starts. Obviously, too many for the first 8 games of a season, or 7 games of a season, as it were, but 36 offensive penalties. Now let's talk about the red zone. Right now, under 50% red zone after a rash of inability to get that thing punched in. I know the media was asking a lot about the low red zone. I'm big in just inside the 30. I mean, score as many points as you can inside the 30, outside the red zone, so that area becomes challenging, obviously, when you shrink it. So, Ben wants to score a lot of points, so it's a huge deal for him.
Yeah, but you look at how frustrating the first couple red zone attempts were in yesterday's game. They have a 3rd and 1 and they have a false start. That brings it back to 3rd and 6. And then they get penetration that stops the play, and then there's a sack. So, the thing about it is when you get those real makeable down and distances that mean a lot to the success of the red zone, you got to be perfect. And so I do think that the more the terminology is repeated in the practices over a course of time, and the more familiar that Caleb is directing his cadence, those off false starts are going to decrease significantly. But I'm also, I know it takes time to perfect that. So I'm not sitting here saying, oh my God, woe's me, this is an uncorrectable issue. No, this is something that's correctable with reps. And so I'm not sitting here thinking that it's going to be continuous. It's going to be something that's going to be corrected.
The Bears did have success early on in the game, Tom, getting the ball to receivers. Obviously, Roma Dunze with 7 first downs on 7 catches on the day, a career high for him. Receivers open with under center play action. The early bootlegs were effective. Can you analyze that for us and see how that was effective? Moving forward,
the bootlegs. The bootlegs, that's because of the salesmanship of the offensive line. Dan Rochar has these guys coming off the ball. And again, Darnell Wright continues to play a physical brand of football that we all expected out of him since the time he got here. But the more physical that he and Theo Benedek can play at the tackle positions, how low and aggressive the interior of the offensive line, they're selling that play to the defenders. And if you're going to watch a bootleg, if you're going to go back and rewatch it on film, watch the defense react. Don't necessarily watch the offense because they're selling the play. And I think on screens, on bootlegs, on outside zone run plays, the way the offensive line sells those plays is the reason they've been successful. And I still think they're going to play a big role in the week-to-week scheduling of this offense. And one thing that I wanted to come back to is when you brought up the amount of snaps that Colston Loveland played 50. With Ben.
Yeah.
50, right?
Yeah.
I was really surprised at that because I didn't really take into account how many snaps he was out there. I was curious that how many snaps Ben would offer him in the course of the game. 50 snaps. That's a really nice job by the young guy.
It's crazy. 7 drives between the two teams, and all 3 of the Bears scoring drives in the game were 10 plays or more. What do you derive from that? Anything? That's just how that game worked, or were teams that were they in a tug of war to control the time of possession?
Well, you look at their offense. Their offense wasn't being led by Lamar Jackson, and he has a tendency where he can create bigger plays. He can create bigger running room. So Baltimore had to be patient with Tyler Huntley and Derrick Henry. And Derrick Henry wasn't exploding for plays. He was doing it methodically. And that's how they got their, drives, double-digit drives going. In the Bears, they've already – I think they're keeping the opponent's defensive coordinator on the edge of his chair because he really they don't know what the Bears are going to do next. They don't have the percentages of what they do on whatever the down and distance is. And so it's kind of like a chess match between the opponent's defensive coordinator and Ben has come out on top. And so if you have the consistency of those 10-play drives and the way the first half was about an hour long.
Yeah, 106. It was an hour and 6 minutes.
It's amazing
Something
how
like
quickly
that,
it went by, but that is the creativity of Ben Johnson and the way he calls offense.
I don't know if you noticed on tape after watching it without documenting every one of them, but as it turned out, the Bears sent pressure, a highest total of the season, extra rusher, 42.3% of the time. How effective do you think it was?
I think it's a really effective. And I think it would be just as effective as if Lamar Jackson was in there. I think if you take the skill set of Tyler Huntley and how you want to attack him, it is going to be similar to the way you want to attack Lamar Jackson. You want to put pressure instantaneously on Lamar Jackson to create a really small window to decide what he wants to do, hand it off, run it, or pass it. And Tyler Huntley is a little bit the same, but he's less of a straight distance athlete than Lamar is.
Hey, Bears fans, Steinhoffels is a proud partner of the Chicago Bears. This Bears season, Steinhoffels is partnering with Special Spaces Illinois to create dream bedrooms for children battling cancer. For every false start caused by the Bears defense during a home game, Steinhoffels will donate $1,000 to Special Spaces Illinois. Shop in store and online at steinhoffels.com. Up front, I mentioned the defense getting a lot of tackles. Who impressed you on the defensive line?
Well, Javon Dexter did, but I want to be impressed by Javon Dexter because I think he's got a unique skill set that the more he plays, I expect him to play better. I was really impressed by Dio Adingbo. He played long. He played physical, but he played with length. And I think that's the way he's got to play against some of these offensive linemen. If he can create that separation and disengage from the offensive lineman who's trying to block him because of his length, I think he can be effective for a much larger area of responsibility. And then I like to see what Montez did. Unfortunately, he had a sack taken away because of a penalty in the defensive backfield, but his readjustment on the first sack he had against Tyler Huntley was a really an athletic play. He was able to maintain his balance, readjust his body lean, get in there, and be able to create the sack. And so you brought it up to me last night. 22 of the 29 tackles were from those three guys. But I'm also glad to see Grady Jarrett back in the mix, because the more he's in the mix, the more a variety of defensive line, especially interior defensive line plays it gives the Bears. But I will say Big Bill. Billings, man, has been playing a brand of physical football up front that he can dominate individual blocks. He can penetrate. He can stop or slow down a running play. So I was encouraged to see, how he continues to play.
Do you get sense as a defense you're focusing in on Derrick Henry because you can't let him kill you? So they got him all wrangled up at 3.4 yards. Yeah, he scored 2 short rushing touchdowns. They were moving the ball. But the rest of the run game averaged over almost 8 yards a carry, including Huntley and other backs that were touching the ball. Is it natural to just take a deep breath when Henry's not on the field, and that creates more of a lack of urgency in the run game, or what do you make of that, or nothing?
I think when Derrick Henry is on the field with Lamar Jackson, I think you want to have a really crowded, condensed area. So you want to either trap Lamar Jackson inside, or you don't. You want to get multiple bodies to Derrick Henry. And then when you don't have Derrick Henry or Lamar Jackson on the field, it kind of spreads out the defense, and he either gives you a variety of blitzes that you want to attempt, or you just play a different type of coverage that may give Huntley an opportunity to run like he ran up the middle that one play, or recognizing what the coverage was. So yeah, I do think you have a completely different mindset when Derrick Henry's in the game, when Derrick Henry and Lamar Jackson are in the game, as opposed to the other running backs. But you were talking about the speed of the 5.81. Huh?
Yeah, Keaton Mitchell.
Yeah.
And then I didn't even have him on my board. He had 43 yards of rushing on 4 carries and 66 on 2 kickoff returns. So they used him more than they did Justice Hill, who's got even more speed. That's going to be an interesting team. I'm not going to sleep on the Baltimore Ravens, man.
They're still favored to win their division. And that's the crazy thing about it.
Yeah.
And I don't think there's a lot of people that are super impressed with the Steelers. Yeah. So they're still impressed with what Lamar Jackson will offer this team as soon as he gets back in the mix, and it may be as early as this Thursday.
Score big at your local Chevy dealer. The Chevy Silverado will take you through this season in style. Chevy Drive Chicago, official truck partner of the Chicago Bears. All right, let's look ahead a little bit here. Let's look a little bit ahead. As the Bengals get ready, we learned Joe Flacco now has a shoulder, and so he's going to be questionable all week. Are we going to go through the same exercise here?
Yes. Get used to it, because no head coach is going to admit too early. And that's the thing about it. We sit here and we talk about some of the design defenses against the Baltimore Ravens by the Bears. You are designing defenses to consider Lamar, with consideration Lamar was going to be the quarterback. So it's not like you just flush everything and devise a new game plan from Saturday. That's why that, the way they did that to the Bears, it was unfair. But so now with Flacco, I don't think there's a big change in Flacco to Browning. They're two similar body styles. Yeah, Browning is a lot younger, but I think Browning could also sit back there and learn a lot about learn a lot about what this offense is capable of in the last couple of weeks.
Well, a guy who'd be upset would be Jamar Chase because he and Flacco have really connected, man. He has put up what is now tied for the most receptions in a 3-game span in NFL history, Tom. When Michael Thomas was collecting footballs like coins in New Orleans back in 2018, early that season, 38 catches, that's what Chase has done. 10 in Week 6, 16 in Week 7, 12 in Week 8. So it's a lot. That's a lot. And there's a veteran quarterback that knows what he wants. Get the ball to Chase. Jamar Chase is outstanding.
Chase is outstanding. There's no doubt about it. Joe Flacco is offering him opportunities unlike what we haven't seen in a while. We had a game actually against the 49ers that Terrell Owens, I think, caught 22 balls. So it doesn't come up that often. However, when you are Flacco and you know that you could probably throw 2 styles of passes to a guy as talented as Chase, it's, hit and repeat. And so, I'm sure that those receivers were super excited about the offering, but we always ask when numbers kind of come up, whether it's the Bears and turnovers or that, and is that sustainable?
Right.
And I'm talking about the Cincinnati Bengals and how often you can throw it to Chase.
Good news, Chicago. United Airlines is getting brand new planes with all the bells and whistles like Bluetooth connectivity, screens at every seat, and a room for everyone's roller bag. United, proud to fly the Chicago Bears, and you too. I don't want to sleep on their run game either. Chase Brown is a guy who forces a lot of missed tackles from Illinois. Outstanding, rugged back, and Samaje Perine's been around. So they were one of the best duos in Week 8. 21 combined carries for 167 yards.
Duke Tobin, the roots of his football background, the general manager of Cincinnati, is from Bill Tobin and Vince Tobin, his dad and his uncle. His uncle was a great defensive coordinator. His dad was the former GM or talent evaluator for the Bears. And so he kind of brings in an offense when you talk about Chase Brown, that has a bigger offensive lineman that wants to run the style that can compete within that division they're in the AFC. So, you're still going to go up there and face a tough football team, and Chase Brown is a good example of a running back that is a runner and catcher that's an asset to that offense.
The way they lost to the Jets, blowing a big lead to a winless team, does that create a more dialed-in mindset for the Bears' visit, or does this linger?
I think it does linger. I think when you look at the Bears and the Bengals, I think the Bears have the ability to have an urgency improvement within a week. You get this lingering effect that you get the rug pulled right out from underneath your feet in the last seconds of the game and how many points you gave up, and it was uncorrectable, and you were just searching for answers that you couldn't find. I think that could be haunting to the Cincinnati Bengals. And if they had to go back to Browning, again, I don't know, and we don't know the situation with Flacco. If they had to go back to Browning, I think it would affect the locker room.
How about the defense? No Trey Hendrickson, 500 some yards.
Yeah. So they have a rookie pass rushing defensive end that came aboard a little late, but the real star to this defense, the alpha male in the room, the Max Crosby of this division and this team, is Hendrickson. But I don't know what's his situation. Is he guaranteed to be out? Is he going to be a game time decision? Is he, are there going to be a lot of is he not going to be as encouraged to go out there and play if he's not 100% because of the contract situation he's in? And I know they paid him a little extra money, but, he still, has aspirations of playing longer than just this year.
Just the fact that he is one of the premier pass rushers, and obviously we had Max Crosby recently. You're going to have Micah Parsons coming up. You're going to have The guys in New York with the Giants coming up the week after. You got to deal with the Vikings here in a couple weeks. So
You're always going to have somebody.
Yeah, I mean it's a conveyor belt of outstanding talent, and the man that, and I don't know, these guys rush from different sides or whatnot, but the guy I think about because before the season begins, I brought up all these Myles Garrett. I mean, a guy like Theo Benedette, he's going to fight and scrape and scratch to every last breath to hang in there against some of these guys as he learns how to deal with these different types of pass rushers, whether they're power rushers, speed rushers, or a little of both.
One thing I like about Theo, though, as a young offensive lineman, the learning never stops. And what he's learning quickly is how to recover if he gets an eighth of a second out of position on a pass blocking responsibility. He knows how to use his body, his leverage, his length, and his feet in order to regroup and recover. And when I look at a newly minted left tackle like Theo Benedette, I like to see those in-game improvements because it's not necessarily something that you can work on in practice. If it happens, you gotta adjust to it, and I see that in him, and it's super encouraging.
Glad you brought that up because he does rally. He does rally, and it may be listed as a pressure or whatever, but it's not a sack, and you guys are gonna give up pressures, but as long as you get rid of the football in a timely manner, that's not going to result in a sack or something bad. But he does recover, Tom. Some guys just can't recover. They just don't have the reactiveness to recover. That split second of, it's suddenness.
Yeah,
he's got some suddenness to him as a left tackle. You agree with that?
100%. But that's why he has the ability to recover, is because it has that suddenness. Like I saw him use his feet in the recovery of a pass rush to get in the proper body position that I ran it back like 5 or 6 times because I haven't seen it. It's not something you practice. It's something that happens and you do. And so I was excited to see that. And then a little caveat to do. I would like to investigate our guy Ozzie Trapillo a little bit more. I like him on the move. I like him in motion. He's willing to initiate contact, whether it's an outside zone or a trap or a wham or something. The big man has ability.
Very good. Carson Wentz out for the year, Tom, in Minnesota. J.J. McCarthy expected back regardless, but, man, these quarterbacks.
Well, you know what? The way Carson Wentz was wincing the other night when I was watching him, he had a heavy-duty left shoulder brace on that kind of holds it in place. And there was a couple times that he barely got touched and, he had a hard time getting to the sideline. I actually felt bad for him for a couple minutes. I don't know where his career is going from this point on, but he really did a lot of good things for the Vikings in a short amount of time when they were allowing JJ to recover.
I haven't done the math yet, but I'm thinking we're probably getting close to 50